Hello and welcome to Daily Austin Music. My name is Colin McDonald.
Live from Animated Studio 6A in the proletariat capital of the world, Austin, Texas, it's the Damn Tonight Show with tonight's guest, host of Ear Candy 2.0 and marketing specialist for the Texas Music Office, Marc Fortress. Now here's your host who thinks he's clever, Colin McDonald.
Welcome to the Damn Tonight Show. Let's jump right into the headlines. Now, Facebook has pulled out of South by Southwest. Wait, don't they have offices here? This is kind of like grandma canceling Christmas at her place because she's not feeling up for it, but then post a selfie from Hawaii with Santa on New Year's Eve. Now, there have been over 20,000 signatures on the petition to cancel South by Southwest, but until that number reaches around 350 million, keep washing your hands, stay inside, and for a limited time, get your own damn hazmat suit. For one easy, immediate payment of $10,000, you can enjoy South by Southwest with no fears of contracting the virus. Side effects may include suffocation. This is really just a trash bag. The Austin Chronicle Music Industry Awards took place last night at Emo's, and you'll never guess who won. The same industry that claims it's dying sure rewards itself an awful lot. If our industry is limited to radio, print journalism, and live venue owners, we're more screwed for the future than we thought. Where's the best videographer? Where's the award for the best Spotify strategy? How about artist manager, music video producer, Instagram account, YouTube channel? The Austin Music Awards just got an update. I think it's well past time the industry awards got an update as well. Now, last night's music commission meeting was, again, incredibly boring. The only real update is that the Hot Tax Working Group decided it would be open to the public now. And I have to say, I'm sorry. I missed the last work group meeting, and coincidentally, this happened to be the meeting where they apparently went around the room and discussed each other's affiliations and potential conflicts of interest. How did I miss this? And why did this have to happen at the one meeting I missed? Live and learn. I'll do better next time. Let's make an effort to show up at these things. I know the all-important music industry awards were happening last night, so I'm sure that's why attendance was so low at the music commission meeting last night, right? It was just poor planning, right? We'll be right back after this short message. Kids in a New Groove's mission is to provide Central Texas children living in foster care with a committed one-on-one mentoring relationship through free weekly private music instruction. They need your help to continue making an impact. Kids in a New Groove seeks volunteers, music mentors to provide weekly music lessons and mentorship to youth in foster care. For volunteer opportunities and more, visit kidsinanewgroove.org. Austin is a big city now, and that means we have big city issues, like generically named nonprofits that are funded by untraceable donations and, while seemingly taking the side of musicians, strategically align in other areas as well that happen to benefit the anonymous donors. Now, Austin Music Foundation, AMF, sits on prime real estate. How prime? Well, you can get a one-bedroom apartment at that address of 1,333 Shore District Drive for about $1,600 a month, and that's only 660 square feet. How is AMF paying for the... Oh, well, that's kind of easy to trace. According to a Statesman article in 2016, Gary Keller pledged to put his mouth where his money is. And according to the public documents from Black Fret's website, he gave at least $15,000 to Black Fret alone that year. How much money is Keller pouring into these nonprofits in total? And more interestingly, why? According to that same 2016 article, Keller says, I had to ask myself, am I in this or not? Do I really care enough to commit the time and energy and money? Having a party and making a CD to celebrate local musicians is one thing, but becoming an advocate and actually being willing to talk about it, that's something different. So I had to go and think about that. Do I care enough? And I discovered, yeah, I'm willing to do that. Now, in my opinion, at best, he's aiming for a statue next to Willie's, touting him as the Batman of Austin music. Some moniker some overzealous idiot gave him. And at worst, he's trying to manipulate legislation by any means necessary. Here's hoping for Batman Saves Austin, co-opting a few musician Robins along the way, and not Monopoly Man just buying up property and using the police as a volume knob for the culture. And you may be saying, wow, that's a cynical way to look at things. And yeah, you'd be right, but come on. Why else when I go around asking for these nonprofits 990 Schedule B through O forms, the forms I get are redacted? 9 times out of 10. Well, that goes to reason that there's maybe something to hide. Consider this my shining my cell phone flashlight into the gutter because I'm pretty sure I heard my keys go down there when I dropped them. So you're saying all nonprofits are terrible shell corporations used to manipulate legislation? Well, no, not all of them. There are some great organizations out there, and while they will undoubtedly have their flaws and problems, they're consistently doing good work for the music community. Organizations like HAAM, SIMS, HOME, and countless small nonprofits that provide services for the less fortunate citizens of Austin, and Co-op. Co-op is a community radio station in Austin, Texas, owned and operated by its members in a cooperative structure depending primarily upon its volunteers and supporters for all operations of the station. Co-op provides a diverse array of programming, emphasizing programs that deal with local issues and/or serve communities which are underserved by the mainstream media. Co-op has more than 60 unique locally produced programs airing every week, and each of these programs is produced by an individual or by a collective of members. Now, any member of the community can join the organization and apply to produce a radio program, and Co-op provides the facilities and the training. Now, their mission is to engage, connect, and enrich the whole community, including the underserved, through creating diverse, quality educational music and news programming. So see, there are some, without a doubt, on our side. Now, we'll be right back with Marc Fortress from the Co-op radio show Ear Candy 2.0 in the Texas Music Office after this short message. Ovrld is a bunch of music fans hailing from all over the country that ended up in Austin because of their love of music and breakfast tacos. Ovrld's goal is to help you sift through the vibrant music scene here to find whatever it is you're looking for. Whether you're an Austinite looking for a cool concert this weekend, or you've never been to the music capital of the world but want to get the latest on what's happening here, Ovrld is there for you. They provide songs, interviews, reviews, podcasts, and more, with hopes to expand over time to include more ways for you to explore Austin music. Feel free to contact them with any suggestions or anything you'd like to see, and if you're an Austin band or band representative, feel free to send them your music. Or just say hi, and they're doing awesome work. Be sure to check them out at ovrld.com. Hello and welcome back to the Damn Tonight Show. I am here with Marc Fortress from Ear Candy 2.0 from the Texas Music Office and so many other things. Thank you so much, Marc, for being here. For those out there that aren't familiar with you, kind of fill us in on who you are and what you do.
My name is Marc Fortress. I am a jack of all trades, master of, I don't know, maybe a couple. I, for the past 14 years, have been working at the Texas Music Office, doing music business development and economic development for the state's music industry. And that's everything from helping bands that are just starting out to working with music educators to working with music businesses that are looking to expand their business or get referrals or just really grow their business and have new business opportunities. So I've been doing that. Before that, I was playing in bands full time. Couple different bands. The two for the longest period were one called Boba Green and another one called Shotzi. Just indie rock bands that would have been folks would have heard on college radio or the alternative rock stations in Austin. And in the past few years have been doing a lot of volunteer work with Co-op Radio here in Austin, nonprofit, one of the only nonprofit community radio stations in North America. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun. And in another lifetime before all that, I started out professionally here in Austin, working as a photojournalist and a music writer at the daily newspaper, the Austin American-Statesman.
How long have you been in Austin? Did you grow up here?
I did. I moved here at about age 7. It was a great place to grow up. I mean, we were in the suburbs in Northwest Austin, but as soon as I got a driver's license, me and my friends were coming down into town and going to Antone's and seeing shows, and Clifford Antone was alive at that time, and he was really, really good about, even though we were underage, he made sure that we were able to get in and see shows and without hassle, even if we had to come through the back door sometimes. So
now, you've been here for decades, and one of my favorite questions to ask people that have that kind of experience is, what kind of non-obvious changes have you seen in Austin? Besides the traffic, besides the growth, how has the city changed over the last decades? Besides, in your mind,
that's a really good question, because in some ways, as Austin has gotten bigger and more gentrified and commercialized, some things have just remained the same. I mean, like for instance, even though now bands release most of their music digitally, and they might be focused on releasing singles, prioritizing that over full albums. Bands still make the great majority of their money touring, and they still make a lot of money. Well, I say a lot. They still make their money playing shows and getting outside of town. And so, it's kind of dirty little secret is the wrong word, but there's folks complaining about the music industry with every right. I mean, there's a lot of issues with digital royalties and the complications of publishing and all that stuff, but the reality is, music and some people will probably not like this, but in a sense, sometimes it is a meritocracy. The bands that stay together for a long time and get really, really good, usually those bands rise to the top. And the bands that stay together for a long time and then they start touring and getting out of town, sometimes, knock on wood, those bands eventually, audiences find those bands. And so, a lot of folks say, this is the problem with the Austin music scene and this is the problem with this, but watching it over a period of 30 plus years, I definitely have seen hardworking bands that stick together and stick to their guns, eventually finding an audience. And I think that's the part that, it's easy to complain when you're sitting at home on your computer, or sitting on the couch being like, man, how come my band's not getting booked? But, if instead of sitting on the couch, if you're at the music lab or the rehearsal spot, every waking hour that you're not at your day job, and, you're foregoing going out to see the new Star Wars movie so that you can buy a new piece of gear, or you're foregoing taking your significant other out because you're so focused on working on your new song or whatever it is, putting music above everything else. That's when I see artists do that, and it never fails, whether it's 30 years ago or just, last week. Those are the artists that tend to end up doing really well when they prioritize music over everything else.
Right. When they treat it as a business and as not even like saying it's a business is kind of an underestimation. It's life or death. I mean,
that's it. It's really truly life or death. And I mean, that was my own experience too. Like when I was playing in this indie rock band called Shotzi, when I kind of put my life on hold, put all my stuff in a storage space, and dedicated myself to touring with the band, and we're doing van touring and playing 100 to 200 capacity venues, but when we gave everything to the band, that was when everything's kind of the music and the industry kind of started to not just take notice, but it just started to kind of pay off in a sense when we just dedicated ourselves really super hard.
All right, Mark, we got to take a real quick break. We'll be right back to talk about the radio show Ear Candy 2.0 right after this message. Noises and Signals is a great resource for Austin music news by real journalists that know what they're doing and how to craft a compelling and informative story. Sign up for their newsletter to make sure you're not missing anything about the Austin music scene. All right, welcome back to the Damn Tonight Show. I'm here with Marc Fortress and just want to get into a co-op radio, Ear Candy 2.0. How long have you been working at co-op and kind of how did you get started in radio and journalism and in general?
So Ear Candy had been doing for, it'll be a year in June, and then couple years with Co-op, about a year and a half before that, just as a station volunteer. And since it's an all volunteer run station, except for maybe 3 paid employees, there's a lot of work for volunteers to do. And I love volunteering with Co-op. I never had any aspirations to have a radio show or be on the radio, and in some ways, I think that's why it's kind of fun, because it's something totally new for me. And like I've done music journalism for years and done and played in bands for years, but this is like all new, and I had some experience with audio engineering, but still doing that in a radio station is brand new. And so for the longest time, one of the reasons I even got into print journalism was because I really just wanted to share bands and share art that I was passionate about with other people. And so the radio station Co-op allows me to do that. If I'm excited about music or a local artist or whatever it is, I can get on the radio and share that enthusiasm with folks in their new release or whatever it is, and put a spotlight on art that I love. So,
are you live on the Ear Candy?
Yes. So we go out on we do it here in the evenings, and every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. and we're live on HD radio and streaming on the website, on the Co-op website. It's kind of an homage to a show that was on Co-op called Ear Candy that ran for about almost 10 years, since the very early days of Co-op, since Co-op first came on, which was Co-op just celebrated its 25th anniversary this year, and just last month at Anton's sold out show. And that was a blast. Giant Dog, Dale Watson, and Cilantro Boombox played, and that was great to see the community come out for that. I can't say enough good things about all of the folks that volunteer at Co-op. I mean, it's like you have these musicologists, these people that are specialized in whatever genre their show is, and they're incredibly knowledgeable about these different genres. And so I really I apprenticed with a guy named Scott Gardner who's been doing a show that was initially called the Garage Show, but now it's called Stronger Than Dirt. It's every Saturday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. And he's like this mastermind wizard on 60s garage rock and up through current day punk rock, garage rock, and I learned so much from Scott Gardner, and so that was amazing. And I hope that as we were talking earlier about, or we were talking about folks taking advantage of the resources in Austin, Co-op's a great example where anyone in the community can come in and say, I want to learn how to do radio, and since that's the mission of the nonprofit, they accept anyone that walks in the door and will help them do that. So I hope folks can take advantage of that. For myself, it's been a blast getting to, over the last several months, I had Jackie Vinson come on Ear Candy, Vapor Caves, Kevin Curtin. Right in the next month-ish, I'm hoping to have Kathy Valentine come on and talk about her new book that her new memoir she has coming out, and several other folks that I admire and appreciate their art, their music. And so that's kind of the goal, just shining a light on all of these great artists and in Austin, and so hopefully we'll continue to do that throughout the next coming months and years.
That's right.
Yeah,
Decades. Yeah. Thank you, Mark, so
Yeah.
much for being on the show and everything you do to support music in our city and state. Now, I plan to have you back on later this month when we talk more about the Texas Music Office and just music politics in general. So thank you so much. We'll be right back after this message and album review. HAAM provides access to affordable healthcare for Austin's low-income working musicians with a focus on prevention and wellness. Many Austin musicians are self-employed and have no access to health insurance or basic healthcare. They often work multiple jobs and struggle to pay for food, clothing, and shelter with nothing left for healthcare. That's where HAAM comes in. By resolving challenges such as long-neglected dental work to hearing loss, heart problems, and depression, HAAM and their partners improve and save musicians' lives and enhance Austin's economy and quality of life. Austin is the live music capital of the world, and they aim to keep it that way. HAAM has helped over 5,300 musicians access over $73 million in healthcare value since they began in 2005. These include routine dental work, doctor visits and prescriptions, psychiatric counseling sessions, eye exams, outpatient procedures, specialist referrals, hearing screenings, and more. Find out more at haam.org. Hello and welcome to Daily Austin Music. My name is Colin McDonald. This is Damn Art, Daily Austin Music album review time. And today we're going to be taking a listen to MC Buddha's record, Winning Season. Now this record is fantastic. MC Buddha really put together a tight record here. This thing has hooks in all the right places as well as plenty of callback melodies and themes. It's 12 tracks and comes in at 42 minutes. The first track, Mirror, starts off talking about driving Austin streets, and this is an Austin-focused record. MC Buddha is really set out to shine with this one. The second track, Ozarka, starts off with a simple but memorable melody and pattern, and then the chorus comes in with that over auto-tune sound, which, okay, that's fine. I really like the ad-lib vocals in the chorus, and it adds a lot to the track that needed a little extra something. The beats on this record kind of remind me of the golden era of hip-hop, but also sound modern. I really like the direction they chose to go with this one. The third track, Opposition, starts off with this nice piano intro, and I started to notice that Buddha Man is said at the beginning of every song, and I love that. That's marketing. This track has a nice melody and a great performance from MC Buddha and Yeti 2100. The fourth track, Trust Ya, begins again with Buddha Man and the over auto-tuned vocal and continues to be a great story song with a nice arrangement, but ends with a fade out. I hate fade outs. The fifth track, Swag Attack, starts off with maybe an acoustic guitar, maybe a synthesized one. I really like the hook on this one. It's completely overused, but in a great way. It's no Gucci Man, but it's knocking on the door. I really wish the organ player played a bigger part in the song because the few stabs are perfectly placed and add a lot to the track. I'm fairly sure there's a flute in there too, and that's just awesome. Easy Boy makes a cameo in this one, and he's just a great addition to any song and kills it. I love this matchup, and they sound really unique together. On the sixth track, Basil Water, the theme of Buddha Man continues, and this one is more of a modern sounding track. The chorus is hilarious. I'm not totally sure it's supposed to be, but I loved it. I really like Two Stone's verse, and this is just a crazy tune, and everything works really well together here. On the seventh track, Dirty, it starts off almost carnival style, but comes in with this nice melody and a bass line before the drums even drop. Piano chords add a lot to the vibe, and the panning hi-hats made the engineer in me happy. This song has some really strong verses, probably the best on the record. In the middle part, they go back to dropping the drums and expresses a lot of emotion in the vocal performance. Jay Klein's verse is great, and although delivered with a completely different style, it molds well with MC Buddha's vibe. I love MC Buddha's sense of melody and the ability to put together a coherent theme throughout the whole record. The eighth track, Charge It to the Game, it starts off with a real chill hop vibe with electric guitar and the ubiquitous Buddha Man intro. And this is a track I'd really like to see live. It's got a simple hook that you can sing along with, and halfway through the first chorus. This whole record is really set up to be performed well live. Lots of gang melodies and hooks that are easy to remember and repeat. On the ninth track, Bout It, this one starts off with a reggae ska guitar part, and the beat comes in for the first time sounding a little bit left to center for this record, but it quickly embodies the vibe of the tracks that come before while still standing on its own as a unique endeavor. Again, I really wanted to hear more organ in the verses because the lines they used are really great and they complement the melody really well. The horn parts are subtle and well placed, and this is one of the few reggae-inspired hip-hop tracks that actually does it well. It sounds more like a real track made from an authentic place than most 2 and 4 guitar part based beats you hear a lot of these days. On the last track, Why, it starts off with a dissonant acoustic guitar sound. I think this is the first track he didn't say Buddha Man in the first 15 seconds. This track is my favorite. You can hear Buddha sing without the auto-tune crutch and can finally hear the real soul hidden underneath. I like the chord choices as well as the melody, and this one is definitely a stripped down arrangement and kind of feels like the birthplace of this record in a way. Towards the end of the track, you get a woman singing in maybe Spanish, I don't know, over a lo-fi beat that ends the record beautifully. Overall, this is a really well put together record with a lot to say. There are some great rhymes and even better melodies, and the tracks are expertly put together. The whole record has a really consistent vibe, and every track is worth your time. Be sure to buy, share, and stream this record wherever you can. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out The Damn Tonight Show every weekday at 5. I'll see you tomorrow. Daily Austin Music is a thing that I'm doing. There is no backing, there is no funds, there is no kind of point besides trying to get attention on the Austin music scene. So if you'd like to be on the show, if you'd like to do a segment yourself, email me, call me, do whatever, 512-967-3386. Let's get together and bring some attention to what we're doing out here, because this is the greatest city and the greatest time to be alive. Do more, better, faster. I'll see you tomorrow.
Virginia. What's your name?